Warning, what you're about to witness is something that, honestly, I thought I'd never see in my lifetime, but I'm sure you never thought you'd see in your lifetime. You're about to see a liberal admit that she was wrong about Trump. What?
I think that politics has substituted religion to some extent. People have almost like this religious zealotry toward their political beliefs. And when that happens, it's really difficult to have a conversation with someone without it immediately devolving into allegations of bad faith, of, lying, deception, all sorts of things. And so maybe that's part of it. But honestly, I didn't really notice this as an issue in America until Donald Trump was running for president and then after he got elected as president. And I am 1,000,000% guilty of honestly allowing him to kind of break my brain for a little bit because I saw him as such a significant threat.
Oh, Anna Kasparin admitting that she was guilty of TDS and that Trump broke her brain. I do have to agree that politics have become the new religion, right? Where people, if you're not on my side and this side, if you don't believe in what I believe in, then you're somehow evil. You're this evil force working against me. I think that's the sentiment, especially oozing from the left. I'm not going to sit here and try to, sugarcoat it. The left, man, y'all be over there doing too much sometimes. We got rhinos too. I'm not gonna lie, you know what I mean? But the more reasonable she becomes, I'm reading right now, the more reasonable she becomes, watch how the left starts attacking her. You can have a difference of opinion on the left, but you can on the right. And that's all I was just emphasizing. And that's the reason why I wanted to read that comment to you guys, because it's like, these people don't get it. They really don't understand. They're like, well, no, we can't have difference of opinion because you're voting for somebody who's definitely a threat towards me. So you voting for that. We can't have civil discourse. And you, meanwhile, we over here like, yeah, we could talk about it. Like, no, we can't talk. And then they go, liberals, that is, they go to their friends and go, yeah, they're so unreasonable. We can't talk to them about nothing. Confessions is good for the soul, somebody wrote. And somebody else said Trump didn't break her brain. It's the people who had propagandized her for decades that broke her brain. Trump eventually healed it. And I have to agree, legacy media is coming to a close. You see what's going on with MSNBC, CNN, and all this. News ratings are down. I mean, nobody's buying into the BS no more. The propaganda is becoming short-lived for sure. Now, we're going to move on because Colin Rugg just posted this video. And man, it's warming my heart to see, the younger generation catch on. Trump's favorability surges by almost 20 points with young Americans, according to the new YouGov poll. This seismic shift is extremely noticeable on TikTok, where young people, like in the video you're about to watch, explains why they left the Democratic Party for the right. Now, he also wrote 50% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 29 now have a favorable view of Trump, an increase of 19 points. Yeah, let's check this video out.
I, too, was quite liberal during my college years, as we all are. I mean, American institutions are essentially left-wing indoctrination camps, and we know this to be true. You go in, you are inundated with left-wing orthodoxy, and you exit much more liberal than before. We all know this to be true. But then I started thinking, I started noticing many inconsistencies. Why does the media say that he hates the middle class when he established the largest middle class tax cuts in history, when the median middle class income was up $5,000? Why do they say he hates gay people when he wanted to decriminalize homosexuality worldwide? He has gay weddings all the time at Mar-a-Lago, and he was the only president in U.S. history to enter office having a pro-gay marriage position. Not the Bidens, not Obamas, not Clintons, no, Trump. Why do they claim he's some kind of racist when those claims had never been made before he ran for president? And then he's only ever accomplished wonderful things for minorities. Lowest ever poverty rates for Asian Americans, Black Americans, Latino Americans, and women. Highest ever employment rates for women, Latino Americans, Black Americans, Asian Americans. Why do the same celebrities who used to fawn over him, love him, adore him, suddenly think that he's the Antichrist? I'm talking Oprah, Ellen, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Mika from MSNBC. They all loved him, and then suddenly they're instructed that he's he's literally Satan. I'm thinking, if censorship is used to control people and control the narrative, why did they ban the president from Twitter for 2 years, from Instagram for 2 years, from YouTube for 2 years, from Twitter for 2 years? Why did Twitter and Facebook then censor and shadow ban conservative accounts? I'm thinking, why did Twitter censor the Hunter Biden laptop story? Why did legacy media nearly uniformly post negatively about him for 8 consecutive years? So things are shady, and then they use lawfare against him. Lawfare is legal warfare. It's an attempted legal assassination. They weaponize the Department of Justice against the sitting president of the United States. That's never been done before in United States history. They drummed up a bunch of BS charges from some simple paperwork misfiling, one of them, and they turned it into 34 felonies, and they couldn't even go after him because the statute of limitations had run out. So a bunch of lawyers in New York who literally hate him changed the New York law so that they could prosecute him through a legal loophole. Most insane story ever. Meanwhile, they let the Clintons and Bidens off scot-free for genuine criminal behavior. So everything thus far is a lie, and then you listen to his press conferences for 30 minutes, the full 30 minutes, the full hour, and then you go on MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, and somehow they've spun his words around into the polar opposite of what he said. It's like, I just saw him deliver a wonderful speech, and now the New York Times is tweeting that he said something horribly discriminatory? What? I mean, a good example of this is the Very Fine People hoax. He explicitly condemned hate groups, explicitly condemned them, and then all the headlines were, Trump condones these terrorist organizations. What? That is the polar opposite of what he did. And then you wonder how they can say he's money hungry and selfish when he refused a salary while in office. Meanwhile, his career politician counterparts are getting richer and richer and richer and richer by the hundreds of millions of dollars. And then they tell all women, they fearmonger them into thinking that there's going to be an abortion ban. Meanwhile, his policy is very clear that he would never enact one. He would veto one if one was enacted. He's always supported the 3 exceptions. And then they fearmonger women into thinking that people are being prosecuted for having miscarriages. Not one woman in the United States has ever been prosecuted for having a miscarriage, and that story about the Ohioan woman was a complete and utter hoax. She was prosecuted for charges completely unrelated to abortion. And then you keep digging and you wonder why the New York Times posted photos of children in cages saying that that was Trump's doing. Meanwhile, those photos were proven to be taken in 2014 under Obama. And then you wonder why Newsweek falsely reported that Trump was in Florida golfing during Thanksgiving when he was literally in Afghanistan serving dinner to troops. So they say he hates every single demographic, even though he's helped literally every demographic. They say he's a woman hater. They compare him to an evil, murderous dictator. They censor him on every platform. They lie about his policies. They try to falsely imprison him, and then they try to kill him in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then one can only help but wonder, why is all of liberal orthodoxy backed by the mainstream media, academia, every celebrity, Hollywood, legacy media, social media, every American institution? Why are we being fed this narrative over and over and over and over when it directly contradicts the truth at every turn? And then I realized conservatives are the resistance. Conservatives are resisting against the big government machine. I mean, when you tune out the narrative, the pieces start coming together. It feels like you've been in the Truman Show. The damn Truman Show. Everything's a false reality. The reality comes down and you see things for what it is. And then you realize just how deep the corruption goes. That is just the tip of the iceberg. People are raging against the big government, dissent-free, uniparty machine. It's a movement.
I applaud this young woman right here because I too was the same way, man. Definitely was on that Democrat plantation, the mindset, the propaganda head. The TDS was engulfed in me. Seriously, it was to a point where when somebody said his name, it was this anger that would come about that I had no reason to have, honestly. But it was due to all of the dangerous rhetoric and sound bites of the left-wing mainstream media that had me enraged over something that I didn't even understand. And when I finally watched the live rally myself and was able to see how they chopped it up, bro, it threw me completely, y'all. I have to give a lot of credit to the people who like Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA going to these colleges as well and helping these kids realize the corruption that's happening around them. And yes, conservatives are raging against this big machine. Because the Democrats, they do a really good job of doing what they do. You know what I mean? Somebody wrote, young people want a chance at American dreams, and they're starting to wake up for sure. If the youth has one superpower, it's an innate BS detector. They can tell when they are being lied to, but the left keeps gaslighting. What result is to be expected in this situation? Exactly. Type of thing that I'm talking about, because It's this rhetoric, man, that can lead to so much and has led to so much. So many dangerous, vicious, vile things. Like I said in my last video, people are harming themselves and their families because of their disdain for Donald Trump. This is evidence that parents are doing a great job, and patriotism is being ingrained into the hearts of the younger generation. So I'm excited for this for sure. We go from woke to the great awakening, and it's happening. I hope it succeeds. This is pretty awesome. The nation is healing, if you ask me. Somebody said come on, somebody hating. She needs to fix those fingernails. As you see, my camera turned off at the right time.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
Yeah. This is NPR CEO Catherine Marr. Quote, truth is a distraction from getting things done. That's her words. That's why we are grateful for Doge. Now, this is NPR and all that. We're going to talk about that in another video, but I'll read what somebody wrote because I totally agree with this, okay? She looks exactly like somebody that would claim the best way to obtain results is through lying. These people are showing you exactly who they are. And you're wondering, huh? Well, like I said, why do Democrats hate the truth so much, right? We're going to talk about that particular video in NPR in another video. See y'all in a minute.